It's 7:01. The Eastern Area Communities Planning Committee meeting, May 9th. I'm Lynn Edwards. I'm chair for tonight. We'll see how it goes. The board is voting tonight on board officers. So everyone, all board officers should have received a ballot from Jennifer. And at 8 o'clock, she will tally it up and close it out for the night. Okay. And that's all I have to say, except that we have a very full agenda. So I will ask people who are speaking on non-agenda public comments to be mindful of their time. I will be checking the time. And I would ask our community representatives to also be mindful of their time tonight, so that we can finish at a decent hour. And that's it. We'll get started. First, are there any changes to the agenda?
Lynn,
Yes.
I would like to propose that we make a quick item to, after review of the CPC report, vote, take a stance on our community, writing a letter against SB 10 based on the CPC's recommendation. And because the Planning Commission is having a hearing on June 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we can kind of, the main thing is that it can't be revoked after it gets by state law.
I
state
know
law that
once
got
it passes, it will.
put past, says that no matter what, if any changes are made to your zoning, it can never be changed in perpetuity. And everybody just finds that to be an absolutely ridiculous clause. And so if we want to even just kind of flag that part of it.
Okay, do you want to add it as an action item?
As an action item right after the CPC report, I can kind of go over what their recommendations were, what we voted on, and I'll keep it brief.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a second that motion?
I'll second it.
Andy seconds. Roll call vote. Bob?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
Daryl's not here. Alex?
Yes.
Andy's?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Lita's not here. Jennifer?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Of course, yes. Lorna?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously, and we'll add that to an action item at the end of the action items. All right. Thank you. Any other changes? Okay, let's move on to communication from the public on non-agenda items. Well, frankly, our guests aren't here yet, so it'd be interesting. Do we have any comments on non-agenda items? Raise your hand. Kathleen, 3 minutes or less, please.
Okay, thank you for letting me speak. Good evening, Chair and planning group members. I've been in attendance at the San Diego Budget Review Committee meetings, and there are a number of items on there and policies that seem to conflict with one another regarding whether the city is supportive. They say they are supportive of small businesses and landlords who are make the backbone of the city, and while at the same time they want to do rent control and make it very difficult for landlords to make money. And they both, there has to be a balance, because in cities where they've done rent control, what they've ended up with are slums, because the landlords are no longer incentivized to make the repairs that they need to, and the people who rent those facilities from they're not happy, and neither are the landlords. So there has to be some kind of a balance. You can't have incentivize landlords to have rental property if they're going to lose money. That was one of the things. The other thing is that the homeless situation is fueled by the very policy that they endorse for growing the marijuana industry, and there doesn't seem to be a recognition of that. And so every year the homeless situation worsens, and the policies that they've had in place over years have been shown to be ineffective and impotent, and it seems like it's time to recognize that and move on to policies that have been shown to be effective in other cities and states. Marnie Wilpert made an awful lot of very excellent comments. She was worried about the monies that were being spent from the opioid settlement, and they were not supposed to be used to backfill city budget items, but yet that seems to be the plan, that the city is going to direct those to homeless. And it also seems interesting that there are so many small bureaucratic organizations that have grown up that really they benefit from staying in business. And so it's difficult to, how do you make that, incentivize them to lower the numbers that they serve? Also, the city park, and they are talking about establishing homeless encampments, I guess you'd call them, in Balboa Park. And Balboa Park is a jewel of city of San Diego. We heard this yesterday. As far as in New York City, they're planning on doing the same thing, creating Central Park as a tent city for the newly arrived homeless. There has to be a better way of addressing things and giving away the very parkland that families need. And it doesn't seem to show a priority for protecting and families and having places, healthy outlets and activities for families to attend to, and not have to be run into homeless situations and drug use, etc. Thank you for letting me speak.
Okay, thank you very much, Kathleen. Any other comments on non-agenda items? Andy,
You want the library update, or you want that later?
3 minutes or less.
I question. I went and attended the Friends of the Library on Thursday, April 27th. The permits for opening, the ground opening is going forward. The RFP is going forward. The wish list is finalized. The grant that's needed is anywhere from 10 to 12 to 14 million needed. And they're going to go through state funds or state grant as well as federal grant. The library is going to be up on top of the development as opposed to a bottom part. The next meeting is going to be on May the 25th on Thursday from 4 to 5.
Thank you. Thanks. Sorry. Any other public comments on non-agenda items? Anyone that's in-person attendees? No one else online? Okay. We're going to move on to reports from our community representatives, and we're going to start first with Officer Terry Hoskins. Terry?
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep, I have no reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Boy, I like this.
I like that.
Thank you, Terry. Okay, next is Tony Duran. Tony is from State Senate President Pro Tem's office, Tony Atkins. Tony, you're up.
Good evening, folks. For everybody online and everybody in person, Tony Duran with Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins' office. We'll keep it brief. The state is facing a budget deficit for the fiscal year 2023 to 2024. So general fund resources will be limited this year. And we don't anticipate any ability to include any district-specific funding requests for that fiscal year. As you know, in the past, we've been able to do things like give money for the new Oak Park Library, but we may not be able to do that this year, but we're always looking forward to next year. And the governor is currently going through his May revise of the budget, and Senate Democrats have introduced a Protect Our Progress budget plan that would avoid ongoing cuts to core programs and also avoid any middle class tax increases. Senator Atkins also wants to ensure that the California Dream for All program receives the full funding of $500 million that was a part of the Budget Act of 2022. There was an initial $300 million that was used already within the first few weeks of the initial launch of the program. And so there is $200 million left to be released. And we are hoping that folks that were not able to get in through that first round that did go through the full application process will have an opportunity to access it with the additional $200 million that needs to be released. And you can always read more about the senator's current bills, the budget plan, and more in this month's newsletter. And in the chat, I will put the newsletter link, the link for the Protect Our Progress budget plan that the Senate Democrats did release, and more information about the California Dream for All program. And then lastly, I will be going on a 6-week medical leave this coming month. So in June, I'll be back mid-July. So if you are having a meeting next month, I won't be able to make it, unfortunately, but you can always contact our office if you have any questions, if you need any assistance with state-related issues or programs. And I will put that all in the chat. And good to see you. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Tony. I would ask that you email that to me and I will distribute it instead. We're
Sure.
going to turn the chat off for hybrid meetings for
Got it, no problem.
transparency. Okay, thanks. Naveed Harris from Council President Sean Elo Rivera office. Naveed, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. So we are having budget forum meetings. Our first one will be this Saturday at Park La Cruz. We're having another on the 18th and then another one on the 20th at the College Rolando Library. I'm gonna send Lynn the RSVP information. The IBA will be joining us. It's to discuss the City of San Diego's budget. We're about to enter into fiscal year 2024. So we'd love to hear from everyone in District 9. So please RSVP and save yourself a spot. Also, Rolando Village is having a meeting. The City of San Diego is having one for the community recreation group to discuss renaming Clay Park. So if you're interested in that, please join us on May 17th at the United Domestic Workers Community Hall at 6:30. That's everything for me.
Okay. You guys are doing great tonight. Thank you. Bruce Williams, Community Representative from District 4 from Council President Pro Tem Montgomery Steps office. Bruce, good evening.
Good evening, Lynn.
Hello,
Thanks.
Chris.
Greetings all. Bruce Williams, Council President Pro Tem Montgomery Steps office. I'll be brief too. A couple of things. A budget review committee wound up everything on today. And so we are going to be having for folks in District 4, if anybody else would like to come as well, on Friday, the 12th, we're going to have a District 4 budget forum. So if you'd like to talk to the Council President Pro Tem regarding items that you're concerned about with respect to the budget, you can join us on Friday from 6 to 7 at the Mountain View Community Center, 641 South Boundary Street. And that's over in the Mountain View area. If you need directions, let me know. Come and just tell the Council President Pro Tem what your concerns are about the budget and what you think our priorities should be. Also, this coming Saturday, May the 13th, we are having one of our dumpster days again. Saturday, May the 13th from 9 to 11 a.m. This one will take place at the Joyous Lake Gloria Mesa parking lot. Many of you have been there before, and we've been walking the area, letting folks know this is a joint dumpster day with District 9. So we look forward to having those bins fill up pretty quickly this time around. So please come from 9 to 11. Then on the same day, from 9 to 1, over at the Choice Operations Yard, which is just across the street, you can bring your hazardous waste items as well. So bring your oil, filters, motor oil, antifreeze, household batteries, fluorescent bulbs, those sorts of things. You can bring those to that across the street from where we're having the dump today. So that's really all I have. If there are any questions, I'm ready to say so. We'd like to introduce our Chief of Staff from Council District 4, Mr. Henry Foster. If you have any real tough questions.
Bruce, do you have a flyer on the dumpster days that we could put out to the community? I can email you if you could send it.
I can send it to you. Laura.
You have it?
It's a-
I have that and I'll send it to you.
You do? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I
Thank
have a
you.
live one in the car if you want.
No, I'll get it from Laura.
Yeah, I got it the other day and. was gonna-
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you, Bruce.
I think the library has it.
All right. Thank you. That is the last report from community representatives. So we're on to our information item tonight, which is why we have such a nice crowd here. And that is an update on the Streamview Drive Phase 2 design. And I believe that's Stuart Osborne who is here representing city engineering. Is that right, Stuart?
Myself, as well as Dilavan Piramari, project manager, are representing the city.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I did get an email back, a response from Ronak that she's out on maternity leave, so she's not going to be here tonight, so.
That's correct. Just give me a minute. My application just crashed on me. Just give me a second.
Sure.
The chat was turned off. It looks like there's.
Yeah. There is something in there and I'll have to, turn it off.
My apology. Okay, connected.
Who are the two engineers again?
Let them introduce themselves as soon as they
Oh, you don't,
get up.
okay.
I know that people, I thought originally Ronak was going to be, because that's who I talked with. And then when I sent the email invite out to them, I got an auto response that she was out on maternity leave.
Oh,
So other people from her team presenting tonight.
okay. There are housekeeping questions.
Sure.
Do we have a sign-in sheet for all our audience members?
Richard is one of his last duties. Yes. It was set up when we first came in. We had just a little snafu tonight in that they forgot we had a meeting here tonight. So I spent normally the time that I would be going, yeah, let me tune this and do this, running around going, where is everybody? I need help.
I'm sorry, Lynn, what is your position?
I'm
sorry.
I'm the chair for now until we're having an election tonight of board officers. So some other lucky stiff could be the chair tonight.
Right. Where?
Still waiting for someone. I think someone's having a. I think he said his computer crashed.
Oh,
So Lynn,
Yes.
just while they're preparing, just a quick question. So it's an information item, like what is tonight for?
They're presenting an update on the design.
Okay, great.
And
On what?
They're saying is they've made some changes to address what the community concerns are. And then they want to provide some information on how you can provide future input.
Okay, great.
Okay, but this is just an information item tonight. It's not an action item for us. And I want to thank everyone for doing a good job and getting the word out, because this is the best attendance we've had in a long time.
Yeah, no, we didn't even.
Okay, there we go.
Gets the word out, yeah.
Thank you, Donna.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
And Dillavan, I noticed Kathy also just joined us a few minutes back.
Okay. All right. My name is Dillavan Piramari. Kathy, are you going to do the introduction, or shall I go ahead and start?
If you're ready, please go ahead.
Okay. Yes, so I'm filling in for Ronak Rorkani. I think one of you already mentioned that she's in maternity leave. So I will be doing the presentation today on her behalf. As most of you might have been already aware of the project, this is located along Streamview Drive. And this is going to be a design update to the community based on a previous discussion and meetings some of you might have had earlier with Ronak and my other supervisors. This is for Streamview Drive improvements, phase 2 project design updates to both community planning group Oak Park and Redwood Village. Okay. For project location, again, as I just alluded earlier, this is along Streamview Drive between College Avenue and 54th Street. Phase 1 was already completed 5 years ago. We had installed 2 roundabouts. Phase 1 I'm referring to. Phase 2 will include 5 additional roundabouts east of Phase 1 and west of Phase 1. For a project overview, the project includes, as I mentioned, 5 roundabouts. The intent of this project is to improve operational safety and community by adding new roundabouts, including raised medians, curb extensions, new sidewalks, curb and gutters, some driveways, and signing and striping. This will also include drainage improvements, which we have water quality basins in the parkways proposed. We will also have a MUDA multi-use treatment area that will treat the runoff from the vicinity of the project and treat it before depositing it over to the Choyas Creek. This project will also propose replacing old water and sewer mains. We're adding new water mains, about 1 mile of water mains and a little over 1 mile of PC sewer mains, and abandoning or removal of over 2 miles of existing old water and sewer mains along Streamview Drive. This is a little bit of overview of the MUDA, the multi-use treating area. These are going to be some large balls in the ground. This will use a combination of filtration media to clean inflowing stormwater from approximately over 250 acres of the watershed. It will also improve water quality within the Chuyas Creek in general by reducing the total maximum daily loads and pollutants entering the storm drain system. The storage and filtration system will provide treatment of runoff from almost 100% of the runoff during initial wet weather events and approximately 50% of the average annual runoff. The large storm events could continue to be conveyed within the underground storm drain system towards Chuya Creek. And the city is actively evaluating the potential to implement stormwater capture into the project, which would provide additional benefits to water quality and water supply. By using the low flow diversions to the sewer, this diversion would then be captured and used through the pure water program. I'm going back again to the project overview to go over the west segment and east segment. The west segment, basically west of the first phase of Streamview Drive, just west of the Michael Street and east of 54th Street. Here's again as a visual exhibit of what was going to happen on the west segment of this project. And as we have proposed in this new project, the 5 roundabouts, we are also including bike lanes, parking, landscaping, and bus paths along this whole corridor. And as a note, we are currently approaching the 100% design of the project. And at this point, we are funded for design, but we do not have fund for construction.
What?
Wait,
Excuse me?
They don't have funds for construction.
It's funded for design, but it's not funded for construction
Not yet.
funding.
I understood that they had the funding. The funding. Did you ask him to repeat that?
Okay, excuse me, Mr. Piramari.
Yes,
Can you
sir.
can you please repeat? You said we are nearing 100% for design. We
Yes.
had agreed previously that you would not reach 100% design without our input.
We are working towards, we have not reached 100% yet. We are working towards the 100%.
Thank you.
Yep.
At what percent?
And then back to the funding for
Yeah, so
construction.
the project is funded for design,
Yeah.
but it's not fully funded for construction yet.
We don't want you at 100%.
Pardon me?
Wait,
Okay,
let's finish the
April.
presentation.
Okay,
first,
thanks,
please. Thank
thanks.
you.
I got it, April.
Thanks.
Don't worry. I'm on
Okay.
it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Can you please also close the Zoom thumbnail windows so we can see the full screen? Mr. Piramari?
Is that better?
No.
No,
Yeah.
it's his screen, so we can't close. Lynn, can you try to move it off the screen?
I can't because it's out. I don't, I can't.
That
That Lynn can move
No,
hers, but she can't move his.
I can't move his screen.
Yeah, he's.
I'm
Okay.
sharing the screen.
Okay.
Needs to minimize that.
Yeah, just needs to minimize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The left one, yeah, the left one.
We're good?
If you go to the,
Try doing full screen.
He just is.
just go to the first dash there at the top of the screen
And click on it.
at the, at meeting
Oh,
attendees
sorry.
there, the gallery view, go down.
Once you put your hand up.
I think it is different than mine, I guess.
Is he seeing the audience in the names? Cause he,
He's saying the top right-hand square.
Okay, go down. Can you?
This is our house right here.
This is the screen I have.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Is this good? Shall I continue?
I think this is the best we're gonna get.
Yes, yes, please continue.
All right, please continue.
My apologies. Sorry about that.
Turn this up at all.
It's up
Jennifer's it up
full
all the
back.
way?
It's up
It's
full.
up all the way.
Okay. Yeah, so continuing on, this is the east segment, which is west of Giles Street and continuing connecting to College Avenue. And the same improvement as I mentioned on the west segments. And this particular segment, we're having 3 roundabouts east of Giles Street. These are the design changes recommended by the community. I know my supervisor Ronak has come and met with you guys in the past, and these are the inputs and recommendations from the community, and this is what we are trying to propose and incorporate into the project before finalizing 100%. West segment, we have the reverse angle parking in the median area. We've got the landscaping around the roundabout central islands. And we are replacing the traditional concrete with stamped concrete. And then landscaping the transition or approach to the phase 1 instead of the stamped concrete. On the east segment, we're doing landscaping the parkways instead of the stamped concrete, landscaping the roundabout central islands, and replacing the traditional concrete again with stamped concretes, and also landscaping the transition approach to phase 1 instead of stamped concrete. And in this segment, there will not be street parking. And then for phase 1 measures, I know this has been a concern in the past. This is what we are trying to implement, potentially adding radar speed signs or speed awareness monitors to slow down drivers. This is the visual rendering of the proposed landscaping. We've got the reverse angle parking, the landscaping in the islands, the roundabout, and along the parkways. As recommended, we will be adding drought-tolerant pallets to be included in the design. And there will be no permanent irrigation, just so you may be aware of this. The contractor will water the plants during construction and also for a 5-year plant establishment period. And after the 5-year establishment period, the city does not have the resources to maintain the landscaping, and that's prior to advertising. The third party does need to be identified to take over the maintenance. So there's going to be a conversation going on between the city and the community planning group how to water and maintain these drought-tolerant plants after the 5-year plant establishment period. This should include or conclude my updates to the community planning group. At this point, we'll be willing to take any questions you may have.
Is there a view of the east side of the last slide? He showed us the west. Is there one of the east with the roundabouts and the flower and the design?
Oh, so this was just a sample of what is going to happen. So this will be along the whole corridor.
Well, we don't
This
have
is-
the parking inside. Towards college.
Comments from the audience first. Yeah.
And,
So-
do we know where the bump outs, the extended curbs are gonna be, and if they're gonna do the sidewalks? Even mentioned.
Yes, there's sidewalk.
If you ask loudly, maybe he can.
Yeah,
tell
I
us.
think-
hi, just wonder if you're going to be redoing or widening the sidewalks, number one. And two, you mentioned that there's a bump out. Where are the bump outs in this plan? I can't identify it.
A bump out?
Well, you're gonna extend the curbs, I guess I'm saying.
Yeah, well, to accommodate installing the roundabouts.
Oh, around the, okay. And how about, are you going to be widening the sidewalks?
Well, there are limitations and restrictions on where to widen. Again, design restrictions will convey where to widen and where to not. But we will meet the minimum sidewalk requirement per city standards.
Oh, okay, it's different from the plan, I guess, when we did that, Anna, they had big ones out. So it changed, everything's changed. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Tim Davy?
My house is the one with the trees. And my next door neighbor has the pool. So does that mean I can't park in front of my house?
Well, there will be assigned parking and other locations. I didn't say you cannot park in front of your house, but again, we have to make these improvements to alleviate traffic on the along the corridor.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
So the
And,
construction can't start until the design is finished?
Right.
Right.
And when do they,
Yeah.
when do they think that the design will be coming to an end?
And I thought.
Yeah, what is the percentage?
What is the time frame that we're looking at? Is there a certain amount of time that anyone is considering having the design completed? Because the construction can't start until the design is completed, correct?
You're absolutely right.
So when do they foresee in their crystal ball that the design might be completed?
What
Okay,
percent?
You know,
Yes.
is it gonna be this year, next year, 5 years?
Okay, why don't we, let's rephrase the question. Okay, so we're nearing 100% design, but we're not at 100%.
Percent of that.
And so what percent is the city at? Or do you think you're at?
We have moved away from 60%. We are working towards the 100%.
You're 60%.
We're past 60%. We are-
You're,
we are
you're at
working-
62,
Well, I wouldn't say 62.
65. Okay,
You don't have such number as 62%.
okay,
Ask them when they anticipate.
Okay. okay. All right, so if we're now discussing finalizing the design, what is the time frame to work with the community to finalize the design?
Oh, so we were working with the community, and these are the new inputs that we are adding to the design, and this is part of our presentation today. You know, we were trying to convey this message that we are incorporating you guys' input and your recommendation. The timeline, again, we are working towards the 100%. It will take anywhere from, I would say, 6 months. So towards the end of the year, we're hoping to complete the 100% design.
Okay.
It could be sooner.
Are they gonna start building?
We have to work with our consultant. We have to incorporate those recommendations by the community into the design and have our consultant, modify and incorporate those new features into the design.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Can you ask them from the
Yeah.
time of the design to construction, how much
There's
time?
no funding.
That's what I
Don't
thought, so we don't know.
John Hogan, question?
I have a question for you. What is the best way for the community to give you input now that we've seen about where you're at? If we have ideas or suggestions or whatever we want to do to vocalize our ideas, how is the best way for us to do that?
I believe you have to go through the CPG chair and they will communicate with us. That's the process has been done in the past. Correct me, CPG chairs, if I'm wrong.
I personally think you should go back to the communities and do a community meeting. Because you're talking about two communities here that border Streamview. I think they have very strong feelings and, I
Yeah,
think that you best
we
collect your
wouldn't-
input from meeting that with them at a community level and then come back to the planning group.
Yeah, we wouldn't mind coming back. This was just an update based on your recommendation that the community has been asking for in regard to the landscaping, to the reverse parking. So yeah, we would not mind coming back to the community.
That would be helpful because it's hard to tell from the screen.
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd recommend those meetings take place in person.
Yes. I have an online question, April.
Woo, you guys know that I'm full. I want to thank each and every one of you for your attendance, but don't be confused and don't be hoodwinked. Okay, there's been tons of letters. I have been on this crusade for the last 9 months, emails, phone calls, meetings for the last 9 months, and ultimately it has led to no movement, no result, no resolution. I am in phase 1. There has been 8 cars that have projected into our homes, tearing up our property. Our property area is now considered high risk. This is clearly a display of inequity of our street based upon the look and feel of other roundabout installations throughout San Diego County. Just look around. Many view our street as a ghetto, and I don't see that the equity is being addressed by the members of Mayor Gloria's staff and their office. They claim that we are a priority. I am in constant contact with them in all fairness. Councilwoman Montgomery Stepp and her staff have listed us as a priority, but again, there's no money. I think that this should be a line item to correct the flawed design. If you look at the actual roundabout itself, it's 4 inches from the asphalt. Cars run over it, buses come through it. They have given us extensions of these bump outs, as they say. That's taking 6 or 7 parking spaces from people that live there. This has caused a spike in safety concerns and also an increase in our homeowners' premium because now we are at a high-risk area. We are asking that we are included in the California grant and the the climate action plan, but it's moving at a snail's pace, back and forth to the city, to the mayor, to the traffic, to the planning. There is no action. These are low-cost modifications that we are asking. They say that phase 2 is going to work in conjunction with phase 1. It's a puzzle, ladies and gentlemen. If phase 1 doesn't work, the other 2 components are not going to work. We got $3.5 million of stamped concrete. The residents of Oak Park did not, I repeat, did not sign off on the last plan. It was done by Marty Emerald and her team. This is supposed to be the sexy street initiatives. We're asking for speed bumps, landscaping, monument sign, flashing traffic reduction speed signals, and removal of this wasted concrete. The big winners in all of this that have benefited are the heavy hitters. The water department, as you can clearly see, we do need additional drainage and storm modification. The engineering and planning department, planning the plans, the cable company, SDG&E, but where the peril and paranoia falls is upon the property owners and residents that live on Streamview Drive. Do not allow us to be hoodwinked, rushed, and bamboozled again for a 3rd time. This is unacceptable, and I am totally opposed to a phase 2 until you make modifications and corrections to phase 1.
Thank you, April.
Can I raise a question here or a comment?
Yes.
History, Anna.
So Anna Orzeller-Nita, I was once a community leader for Redwood Village and very involved in the beginning of this project with Marty Emerald's office and even before then. My question, I know that we're talking about all the concrete, April, that's there. but as a community member in that area, the concrete that's there now is an improvement to what was there before when it looked like a landing strip. I don't know what the input has been from the community towards this project in the recent years, how they want to see it changed, but absolutely. Who's the representative for District 9 right now that's here with us, Naveed?
Yes.
Okay. And so how have we presented those concerns to our council member? Have you guys done that just in writing, or are you doing that by yourself, April? Or is, because when this Streamview Drive project happened, we worked with the community so much. I mean, we had 177 signed letters from both sides of Streamview Drive in people in support. Let me finish with my thoughts though, because we did surveys, we worked with the council members, we had the engineering department at every Eastern area community updating on this. This did not get bamboozled or rushed through because we started in 2003 and it was done in 2016.
Right.
So there was not a pushing through of this. It's taken us years and years to get anything done on that street. And I understand the concerns with the accidents, and I would ask the engineers, appreciate that you're here and that you're working on behalf of our community. But, I know from 2003 to 2008, we had traffic studies done on Streamview Drive, and we knew that there were 15 accidents, 2 involving pedestrians, 1 involving a bicyclist. We had data. So I would ask you if you could do a traffic study again, just put the strips down. We have 3,000 cars a day that are coming up and down that street. At least that's where it was before. And I would like to have Officer Hoskins or someone report on the accidents that have happened. Because I know the really brutal one that ran into Marie Grace's house, that was a high-speed police chase through the neighborhood. I mean, is that protocol for the police to be doing high-speed chases? And the last thing is, I would say roundabouts are not the problem. Signage, we have problems with drivers. The drivers are the problem.
And the drugs and the trap houses.
So there's so many components to this, but I mean, definitely as a council and as community groups, Oak Park and Redwood Village together, yeah, let's put the list together and ask for what we're looking for. But I mean, it's not all negative to me. That's all I want to say.
Okay, well, let me just answer your questions. And I'd love to have a sidebar conversation or a cup of coffee with you to talk about some other things. What you need to understand is I live here.
I understand.
No, let me finish. Let me finish. I live here. And it wasn't a high speed chase. It was a low speed chase. And the car was sitting here in my window watching it as the car projectile, because if you look at the sloping of how the flawed design is, it's a projection ramp. Come down Streamview and take a look at it. Yes, it went from 2003 to 2016. And how many city council people were injected in that before the actual plans? You promised and over-delivered. There is not a piece of landscaping anywhere. There's weeds that me and my husband go out and cut. That is inequity in our community. It's $3.5 million. I totally get that, okay? It was a good intention, but it is a flawed design. Let's take responsibility for that. Yes, it looks a little bit better, but you've taken away 6 parking spaces. 6 parking spaces for what? A piece of cement? That does not make any sense. I've seen women 2, 3 o'clock in the morning have to walk down the street with their kids because they are not parking right in front of their property. And our community representative did not sign off on it. Marty Emerald and you and another one of the members were really vigilant in pushing this through. I appreciate the fact of the improvement, but you didn't give us, you gave us an abortion. You did not give us a sexy street. These 8 cars have projectile into our homes. Are you kidding me? Talking about a traffic study? They came and did a traffic study and they came back and told me, well, Mrs. Mahoney, what we'll do is we'll repaint the sidewalk. I mean, the stripping in the street. That has done nothing. I live here. I've lived here for 30 years. My neighbors live here. We are immediately an impact. You are looking at it from a helicopter view. All of you that do not live here, do you understand that our lives are in danger when these cars come into our homes? This is nothing to play with. I'm not asking for a traffic light. I'm asking to save our lives. And then you have the audacity to want to install 2 more because this is a puzzle. And if you look at other rocks and monument signs throughout San Diego, yes, I'm sorry, I'm extremely passionate about this because I'm seeing it. A cat only has 9 lives. We're on number 8.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I'm
April.
curious about those 8 accidents. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't heard.
Well, I will, if you want to see a video, how about that?
No,
I have the,
I
no, I have the video. I have the news coverage because the media is on my side with this. They have been out here, they've done the drones, it has been on the news, and they are asking me for an update. And I am going to be vigilant, and I am going to be standing out there with a bullhorn to let you know how serious this is. And if you want the videos, NBC, CBS, KPBS, The Reader, all of them have covered this.
Okay, thank you, April. I think we're sort of at the end of our time here for an information item.
I just want one question to be answered. I still don't know from the time we get the 100% design completed, the end of the year possibly, from that point, when are we looking at construction? Otherwise, why are we going to step 1 if we don't even know if there's going to be a step 2?
No money.
No money per step, per phase.
The last meeting we had on Studio Drive, I believe that you might have been there with the engineers, and the design was supposed to be done, and we was to start construction in the fall
2024. So
this
they
year.
told us.
And that was the last information up until today. And now, I don't know.
In fact, money.
I'm with Anna. This has been going on for years.
Right.
And
and
had the
years, and
money
we
for the
had
design, money for
excellent-
design.
We had architectural designs
Paid for.
that the city paid for. We had extremely amount of meetings, and the architectural designs were spectacular.
And they were
And they
signed up
went
by the
no
community.
place.
We had.
They went no place.
Yeah, that's what.
And every
We are
community
paid
signed
They
up.
were beautiful, and they were paid for,
Okay.
and everybody loved it, and we all wanted it.
Were completed.
They were
finished
They were
for,
done.
and construction was
And-
supposed to start this spring.
Correct.
Last
That is
year.
correct.
Sorry,
Correct.
last spring, a year ago now.
I don't know where these things
What
go.
happened to the
I still
ones
have the
that were
design.
completed?
Wait, time out, please.
Sorry.
This is
let's all
a
come-
common, I'm in academia, and I can tell you how many times this happened at the college as well.
So what happened to the completed design?
Get put in the trash.
Oh, nice. So it's $5,000.
And then you might have the
And
money
then they
back
get
up
put
to
in the
do
trash.
Yes,
Are we
yes,
supposed
the
to-
same
Please.
as Westmont College where
We're
you were.
supposed-
Wait.
If I'm not mistaken, they were asking about the
Hey,
construction
time out,
timeline.
everybody, please.
Solution. What do we need?
Just
to
a
do?
minute. I'd like to let DeLavin respond, and then Henry Foster from Monica's office is here, and I think Henry has something to say too.
Yeah, I would say the construction will occur anytime towards end of 2024, early 2025, just because, going through the process of finalizing the design, procuring materials, having a contractor on board.
Okay,
So the latest he's saying is 2025.
I have heard this for years.
But
I'm sure.
no, but the latest is 2025 is
told
what
you
I'm
I
hearing.
did.
Okay.
Me too.
All right.
I just want to be sure. The latest
I
we're
mean,
hearing is
these are-
2025,
These are estimates,
an
It's,
estimate.
it's an estimate.
Yes.
And I think one thing, if you look at capital improvement projects in the city, they can drag on for quite a few
So the
years.
question is, where's the money?
After you look at
We
the
have no
budget.
more money. So we have a
Right.
design that's in the process
We-
of being
we
completed,
are-
65%.
We are constantly working.
Where's the money coming from?
We're constantly
is-
working with the client department, transportation department to identify funding for the construction.
Okay, thank you. Could I just, we're going to close this out because we are at the end of our time, but Henry Foster from Monica Montgomery Steps office is here.
Yeah, thank you. Just really quick, and this is to city staff. I'm gonna put in a request and we'll follow through with this, right? I think we still need a couple of things to explain things to the community. One, if there were old plans that were previously approved, if we can go through the archives and figure out where those plans are and what happened to them. Hold on. I think we can go through and you guys locate those so we can explain that. Number two is, I think we originally for phase 2, we went in for a grant. We did not get that grant. It's my understanding that we went through a debrief with the awarding agency. Is the plan to go back in, as we talk about funding, is the plan to go back in with the second submittal when the grant opens up or monies are available? Are we going after that same grant? I think it would be helpful if you can look at how are we going to identify these funds for phase 2? And really the reason being is the city went out and built phase 1, right? I think we all agree that the way that this is set up and the way this is supposed to work, you have to have all of your traffic mitigation in from 54th Street all the way up to College, right? Is that a fair and accurate statement? I'm asking the engineers, is that a fair and accurate statement?
We already did that.
Yes, we agree with you, sir.
Yes.
Correct? So I think in part of as part of explaining this to the public and understanding why phase 2 is so important, it is to actually bring what I will call the actual traffic mitigation will be 100% in place, which means you're choking traffic before as you enter on both ends, right?
That's correct.
Which mitigates the issues where we have phase 1 in regards to safety and projectiles, right?
Against speed.
Yes.
Correct. Now, we will also have this ask, and this is coming from District 4. Miss April has asked for a period of time about the existing roundabouts in phase 1. Very adamant, and Council President Pro Tem agrees with this, as we are going to put in phase 2, and we are beautifying things and adding greenery in accordance with the cap, et cetera, we need to fall back and look at phase 1 to see what we can do there in regards to some greenery and coming into compliance with the cap. I think that's reasonable. So I think we should look at that as well. We'll follow up with emails from our office just to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much, Henry.
Thank you.
Good steps. Thank you.
I appreciate all your comments and questions. We will take it back to our management and we will take all your concerns, and then again, we will get back to you.
Okay, I have one last question from a board member, Andy.
It's not a comment, it's a solution, I hope. Speed bumps. My recommendation is put the speed bumps before the roundabout. That will slow the traffic, that will slow the cars from going into the houses. Secondly, I noticed in one slide, you had a person in a wheelchair. How's that person going to get across if it's speeding? My solution is put a blinking light. So when that person crosses, the light goes on to slow down and stop because somebody's crossing. This is an example that occurs in Mission Hills. And it works perfectly. It stops all the traffic. Whatever it's called, I don't know what it's called. But that's a solution to the roundabouts.
Okay, thanks, Andy.
Should work
It's an attempt,
better than what it is now.
right?
We want to thank everyone from City Engineering for coming out for the presentation. I think we have more questions tonight than we have solutions, but
Do we have a copy of the slideshow?
I will ask, could you email a copy of the slide presentation?
I sure will. Thank you.
Thank you.
And-
And thank you again for your time.
Yeah, may I add a comment in regard to
Sure.
the speed bumps? I think you might be aware, if you're adding speed bumps, it will have a negative effect on emergency response time, emergency vehicles, bus routes. So that's something.
But it'll slow the traffic down. It'll slow the
That's
traffic
not
down.
correct. There's speed bumps all around this community that emergency vehicles go through every single day. This
Okay,
is a thoroughway.
all right. Well, that's for a future discussion. Thanks, everyone. Good, and time for us to move on because we have several other action items tonight. Thank you again for the presentation. Thanks,
you
everyone
all.
who came. I know you probably didn't get the answers, but I know that there are people here that are going to help get some solutions here. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to our action items. Jennifer is running the election. Did you get a ballot from everybody?
I wanted to ask if anyone wanted to put their name in for secretary.
Gee,
No?
dead silence.
Who's not here?
Who's not here tonight?
Let me collect all the ballots, please. Thank you. I collect ballot.
Okay. So Richard is not running for secretary, clearly. So if anyone would love to volunteer, otherwise that is our next action item.
Oh, good idea.
She's a teacher and everybody feels.
Yeah,
Yeah, she would do a very good job at it.
I'm sure he'd love to hear that too. All right.
Okay, unanimous, Chair Lynn Edwards,
Thank you.
Vice Chair Bob Scott,
Yes, thank you.
Secretary, we have 2 write-ins,
Okay.
one for Kristen Hurt and one for Danielle Lamar.
Danielle declines because I'm a newly appointed member of Park and Rec Board and I have more homework to do.
Okay, Kristen it is. And Treasurer Daryl Williams.
Is that unanimous for Daryl?
Yes.
Okay.
You have any update on?
Yeah, how is Daryl?
We didn't, I think Kristen talked to him several weeks ago. He stepped down from the Webster board, but he still wanted to stay on this board. However, Jennifer has not been able to contact him in the last few weeks.
No.
So we may be looking at having to appoint that later on too. As far as secretary, if Kristen doesn't want to do it, I believe we're going to have to do what we did before.
Share.
And that's rotate. We'll each take a stab at it. Month, and I'll set up a schedule. And what you get the day or within a couple of days after the meeting is you'll get a link to the video. So you have that to fall back on. We're not going to have a chat file anymore, but I'll send you a template from the agenda to use to create the minutes from. Anything else you need, I'll send you the attendance record because that gets captured in Zoom. So, and Bob created a template last year.
Yeah,
To keep it pretty brief.
streamlined.
We want to keep these down to like a couple of pages max. So no one ever wants to be the secretary. We all know that. And Richard, I want to thank you for taking this on.
Yeah, thank you.
Might have actually lasted longer than anyone else in the position. So that's sort of a feather in your hat. Thank you. We appreciate it. We do. So with that being said, I'll email Kristen and see if she's interested. If not, I'll do them this month and I'll put out a schedule for the rest of the year. And that's where we're at, folks. Until we can bamboozle someone into doing it again. All right, so thanks. We took care of 2 action items there. The next action item is we need a second representative to join me in the joint Mid-City community chairs meetings, which we'll be meeting. We're not sure if we're going to be meeting every month, but it is 4 chairs for the Mid-City communities. And that's Normal Heights, Kensington, Talmadge, City Heights, and Eastern area. So it is 4 chairs. We're going to have a second representative. So I'm open to it. Does mean 1 more meeting every month. And fortunately, the first one was fairly brief, about an hour. But it is going to involve some work. We're going to be bringing stuff back from that meeting, not homework, but things we want to complete and take back. The idea is that all 4 communities or all 4 community planning groups are going to work together for the community plan update. So that we have some continuity and we're speaking as one voice for Mid-City, not four very disjointed planning groups, that we all agree we have common goals for Mid-City communities. So if anyone would like to volunteer or nominate someone.
I'll volunteer, especially since we're already sort of doing the plan update
our subcommittee.
I was gonna nominate.
When are they supposed to meet? I mean, what?
When
do they meet?
Right now, we're meeting on the second Wednesday.
Okay.
The next meeting isn't until June, and we're meeting at the El Cajon Business Improvement Association, which is at 30, I have to look it up,
37 something.
3700 block of El Cajon Boulevard. Thank you. Thanks very much. Because that's about the most convenient we could find to get everyone together. So that works. I would expect meetings would be about an hour. And again, we haven't decided at this early point if we're going to be meeting monthly, bi-monthly, or maybe quarterly to start. But so if Laura wants to volunteer, do I have any other volunteers? Then I'm just going to go down the list and we'll do a roll call real quick. I say yes, Bob.
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle, Jennifer,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Laura.
Yes, with thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. That's one more out of the way. Okay. Now we're on to Laura's addition to the action item.
Okay, the CPC met and on its agenda was, a subcommittee was formed to review the housing package ad hoc, housing, it's housing package
Housing action
2.0, whatever.
Yeah, it's 2.0.
And that package is kind of a disaster. There's many things in it that are really going to hurt communities. Complete communities is not good. The SB 10 is one of the biggest problems though. And SB 10 right now is, oh, hold on, I'll tell you something. And I don't know how much, maybe you're all up to date on this, but SB 10 is, calls for 10-unit buildings up to 3 stories tall on a residential single-family lot. So that means the house right next door to you could end up having an apartment building 3 stories tall with 10 units. But then there's also some kind of allowances for additional units. So you could end up with really 14 units. So it's really an apartment building in our single family home lots.
Yes.
And the parking is not required. It can go as so far into our neighborhoods as the SDA allows, which is 1 mile from what's called a transit corridor, not just a half mile like the transit priority area was, but double that. And this is all San Diego's version of SB 10, because SB 10 is somewhat nebulous at the state level, but the worst thing is that it has the caveat where it cannot, once it's instituted, it can't be undone forever in perpetuity. And nobody has ever heard of anything like that in the existence of any of our rules, regulations, or bills. And it just kind of brings a halt to anybody wanting to even think about it. Even tiny lots are eligible for SB 10. Historic districts are being
drooled over.
Well, not only that, but some of the planning commissioners, there's advocates for SB 10 being allowed in historic districts. They're going to be allowed in high-risk areas. They're going to allow 100% concrete coverage of the lot. That means no trees. I don't know how this passes the city climate.
And that's climate action. It's going to create heat.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, those are the horrible parts to it, and those are just highlights. The CPC committee first recommended that with respect to SB 10 implementation, even if we consider any other part of the Housing Act action package, we don't want SB 10 to be implemented at the current time because there's just too much wrong with it and it needs to go through full vetting. There's also a lawsuit going on by a group called Livable San Diego, and it's trying to get all the impacts of the development programs that the city's has been putting in place reviewed before anything further can go on, because we've got CEQA violations. They're stating that there's CEQA violations. There's a number of things, and impacts are not being considered, and you can't just keep allowing regulation after regulation after regulation on pro development without studying the impacts, because it's a cumulative effect. You don't just have the one and then it goes to a different place. You have them building on top of each other until you get something that's really not sustainable. So not happy with the housing package as it is, but number one was no SB 10. Apparently San Diego is the only city in the entire state right now that is considering SB 10 implementation, though I did hear that there's an area in Humboldt that's considering it. I heard that somebody mentioned that, but that was our recommendation from the CPC, and a lot of the planning groups are just individually wanting to write a letter with that same statement with respect to SB 10. It's just a no-go at this point in time.
Is there a template?
Yeah, that's what I wondered.
They I can get a template and get it sent to you, and then everybody can review it.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Does that sound good?
Okay.
As long as in the general overall, we're in agreement, I think the specifics of the letter could.
Think we would
In
all
opposition.
Yeah.
review it. And when is it due again?
First of
June
June.
1st is when the planning commission meeting is, so we want to get it to them a day or so before, so the different the planning commissioners can review it. One other thing we did at the CPC meeting was get an introduction to the mobility, the overall mobility plan that's being looked at. And one of the things we were told is that they're going to start actually measuring who's using bike lanes and how much bike lane usage there is. And a lot of us were very interested in finding out, because we see a lot of real estate being set aside that's just empty, and it's not being used or useful to anybody at this point. And so we are very interested in those numbers. Plus, apparently ridership is down in the transit by about half, and then because of COVID largely, well, actually, I think it went down 80% during COVID, and it's come back up a little, but the point that it's come back up to is about half of what it was pre-COVID. And there's all sorts of reasons. Some people just aren't going into the office as much. People don't feel safe on the transit right now. There's too many homeless. There's all sorts of reasons. But with those two facts that, we know the bike lanes aren't being used and the transit's not being used, we're thinking there might be a real need to try and get some parking back into all these plans.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So back to getting a letter. So you can get a template. Would that come from
Yep.
Andrea?
if it doesn't come from Andrea, I think it does come from Andrea. I do,
Who's
yeah.
Andrea, please?
She's the head of the CPC. She's head of the Ocean Beach
Yeah.
OB, yeah. she's
Planning
from OB.
Committee.
No.
No,
OB.
OB.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's great. She's real good head, and think that they do have a template that's kind of going out. But that was our first statement. The other statements that followed were that if it was to be implemented, they wanted the affordability requirements to be increased to 30%, and to have 15% very low and low income and 15% moderate income households, rather than just making kind of a blanket low income 10% statement. Increase it, because affordable housing is one of the issues we keep hearing about. We keep hearing that they're trying to solve, but with the different development programs they're putting in, it's not being solved.
Yeah.
So half the people, almost half, did not vote for that because they go back to the first point, shouldn't be in at all. anyway, but it did pass with a small majority.
Okay, so do you want to make a motion that we will submit a letter based on a template that will be reviewed by the board and approved by everyone on the board? before we
How are
send
we
it out?
approving this letter? By email?
Well, and we're gonna, the letter is going to have a statement as to that this group does, with respect to SB 10 implementation, that it not be implemented in San Diego at the current time. And that's the main statement.
Okay,
And so it'll have, yes, it's coming from Eastern area. It has that statement in it, whatever our board vote is right now, and then signed by Lynn. That's pretty much what the template's going to be.
So we're gonna take the vote.
Yeah.
yes, okay.
Is that okay? Is it understandable?
I think as long as we keep it, this is simple like this, something that we can approve tonight because it's going to be just a simple statement.
Right.
Okay, so let's see if we can wrap that up into a clear motion here.
Okay, so I motion, no, I propose.
I move.
I move.
You move.
I move that the EACPC write a letter to the planning commission, CCing our city representatives, Todd Gloria, Shawnee Rivera, and Monica Montgomery Stepp.
Yep.
And regarding the fact that with respect to SB 10 implementation, the EACPC does not want SB 10 to be implemented by San Diego at the current time.
Second,
I'll second it.
okay. Roll call vote. Bob,
Yes.
Richard,
Yeah.
Alex.
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Lorna.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So it passes unanimously. You'll send it to me and I will, I'll get it out.
Yeah, and if you guys, when you see it, it'll be almost verbatim. From what you just said.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, and that's good. Okay. Thank you very much, Laura. That's a good one. We do not have a treasurer's report tonight. I'm assuming that we still have the same amount. that we've had for several years now.
A big one.
$75, maybe 3 cents. Okay. So next, review, correct and approve the minutes from March and April. I sent those out to everyone yesterday. Did everyone have somewhat of a chance to review them?
Yeah.
Any corrections for Richard? This is last official.
I thought they both looked good.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they look
Good job.
I'll move approval of the April minute. We'll do it one at a time.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Oh, wait a minute, we have March, right? The March minutes?
Oh, yeah.
I'm moving
She's
to
doing April first.
She wants,
Oh.
she wants to go backwards.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
that's right. I have a discussion. I have I left your part, CPC blank because you had so much wonderful information there. You know where to put, what fitted where, you know?
Oh, so you
Well,
want me to read it to you? Give you a quick summary?
It's blank right now if you look at it. Maybe it's at the very end. Or can I just say Laura provided information?
Updates, yes.
Yeah, would be good.
Hey, Laura provided updates.
Yep,
Okay,
that's,
Got
it's that simple.
all right.
Okay. So approved with corrections. Seconded by Laura.
Who moved?
Danielle,
Brianna.
seconded by Laura.
Call for the question. Call for the question.
Anyone opposed to approving as it with corrections? All right, April minutes are approved. March minutes, did you?
Richard, if you have it on your phone, could you pull up the end of the March minute? Park and Rec report.
Oh, March. Sorry. Back.
Oh, that's why you did it.
Yeah. Okay. In the Park and Rec report, there was a mention of dog park at Clay.
Mhm.
Could you read the phrase one more time?
Is that on the further, I don't have it in front of me, my picture's down.
Park and Rec,
Oh, somewhere
the
about that.
proposed pocket park, the Fair Boulevard.
Okay, got that one, that
Got
one,
that
was
one.
good.
Okay, and then, the proposed dog run at Clay Park has not, wait a minute, I thought,
Distributed to,
okay, I thought I corrected that. Has not been approved, and the city will look
Okay.
into other sites.
okay, so the previously approved dog park is now, having to what do you call it? Go through the whole process, the community process again. Previously approved the location of the dog park is going through another community review.
Trees approved, the location,
Location of the dog park is now going through another community.
and that was clarified in the April.
No.
This is just Mark.
It is March. Previous approved location of,
The dog run at Clay Park.
undergoing,
Back to square one on that.
Does that mean it might go in or are they looking for a new spot?
Well, I just want to get the minutes first.
Okay.
Then I'll
But I
do
think
the
that's
minutes
the
and
next
my
sentence.
report comes out.
I think that's the next sentence, right?
No, this will be
In the minutes?
the update.
This is for the March.
No, but in the,
Yeah, in the minutes, it does say the proposed dog run at Clay Park has not been approved, but the city will look into other sites.
Okay, the city will look into other sites. So the previously approved one is not gonna go in its location. We approved it. Everybody was good 5 years ago. Someone came up and the city backed off and said, nope, it's not gonna go there.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah,
those
but
minutes
actually,
are right.
this doesn't look bad.
But I want to say previously approved. That was really important to say.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Got it.
because it was 5 years ago that they.
that it was
Yeah.
approved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it's not just a proposed, but it was.
No,
previously
it was 5
approved.
years and it went through the park ride board and everybody was happy with it 5 years ago.
Got it.
Yeah.
Motion to approve with the change.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second. Lorna? Anyone opposed?
Oh, did anybody else have
Any other changes? All right. Anyone opposed with the change?
Thank you,
Approved
Richard.
as
You did
is
awesome.
with the change. Thank you. Minutes are approved. Right, thank you. Community updates. We do not have anyone here from Webster tonight.
I did hear through a grapevine that they had some issues with their election. So I'd be really interested to find out from Kristen when we talk to her about the secretary.
Sure.
After she wants to share any updates on the Webster Community Council.
Okay. Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Let's go backwards this month. Richard, any updates for Oak Park? Community updates?
we had a meeting last week, I think I forgot what we. Our big issue now are banners, and we're the learning process for us. But we'll get it straightened out for next year.
Okay,
Going forward.
I'll be happy to share because we have a banner district in Rolando Park.
Right. But we will be working on our bylaws and looking for updating the bylaws, maybe a little cheat sheet on procedures. For example, with the banners, you have to have some way to fund them. Right?
Yes.
That kind of, those kinds of things, we need. So I know we got a lot of good resources here. And we'll tap into those. That's it. I mean, Andy, if you have anything about the library, I think you already mentioned something. Oh, you already mentioned something about the library. And the dumpster day, we've been advertising.
Yeah.
Well,
Hopefully, we just fill it with our own mid-city communities here. People who see it on next door. Okay, thank you, Richard. Rolando, Bob.
Well, in April and just last weekend, we had 2 cleanups of our 8 catwalks that connect the canyons to the mesa tops. what I notice is that we're really having some difficulty in getting volunteers to come out. The first one, we had only about a handful, maybe 5 or 6 volunteers. And we had more people that turned out on this past Saturday. There were about 10. We're planning another cleanup at Clay Park just before promotion day. I think which is towards the middle of June. The cleanup is going to be on Saturday, June 12th, and it'll run from 9 to 12. So I expect that, we're working in association with the teachers at the school and the city. And I suspect we probably will have 25 or 30 people that'll come out. I'm pretty sure of that. So anyway, make sure that their promotion day is moving up day is, the grounds are all nice and clean. So.
I have a question. Somebody mentioned,
I'll cover that.
Yeah.
we need.
I'll cover that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
let's
never mind.
just do
Thank
community
you.
updates.
Sure.
Thanks. Jennifer, Redwood Village.
Nothing.
Okay. That's the way I feel today. El Cerrito. We have three folks here. There must be something new at El Cerrito to report.
Yeah, I don't know.
This last weekend.
The May 6th, yeah, that was mostly what our meeting was about. I got the board meeting in my head, but the community meeting last month and was preparation for May 6th.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
You want to tell them about it, Alex, since you were captain there?
How many people did you have on the corners of Boulevard and?
Yeah.
250? Yeah, there's video.
That was Officer Terry's estimate.
Yeah, so he was there, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyway.
100.
Yeah, it was just.
Yeah,
it
that
was
sounds
right.
it was
Yeah, I
actually
would say.
mainly a protest against SB 10 again, right? And, it was one of 6 protests across the city. Six different communities, and got written up in the press in a kind of interesting way. There was one counter protest, I believe, in the University City, or was it?
City.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, the press covered that and goes, oh, there's 2 sides to this issue. At our demonstration, which had at least 125 people, if
No,
not
it was
more,
fun.
They counted 185,
185,
and I
okay.
think there was closer to 200.
Yeah, there were no counter protesters. There was nobody else. I don't think at the other 5 places there were. So rather than the media going, well, let's do a head count of who showed up, which they often do at demonstrations, right? They didn't do that. So in some ways, the way the media covered it looked like it was kind of 50-50, pro and anti SB 10. And those who were protesting SB 10, of course, were characterized as anti-housing. You want no housing at all, not anywhere, which of course is a complete mischaracterization of the whole issue. But it fits a certain narrative that's kind of sticking with those who command the city in many respects. So that's the narrative that goes out in most of the major media. The only media that came out that I know of was OB Rag, which usually does really good coverage of these kind of things. But as far as I know, no one else covered that particular event here in the college area. But it was good. It was a lot of fun. People had a great time. There was actually a hoot.
Yeah, it was.
Newell drove around with this like 1924 rag top kind of car. It was kind of a lot of fun.
Well, the interesting thing, and not to cut you off, was that, you've got 200 people sort of lined streets on these 4 corners, but the number of people passing by that honked at us and waved and indicated thanks for being out there doing this was a lot. It was really high. So I think there's far more community support for what we're doing. People are fed up of not having parking and, having these apartment buildings built in their next to them.
Yeah. And the granny towers and things like that, right? So anyway, so it's actually a really good show. Apparently Dana Gibbon, who helped organize a good part of this, said that there will probably be a similar demonstration outside City Hall coming up probably in June. So
They want to get everybody together that was at the separate protest in one big group, because then there's, 600, 700,
Yeah, it
800,000
becomes-
people.
right.
So, but there's also some YouTube programs or video footage that they've put together.
Yeah.
So you can go on YouTube and look up San Diego May 6th protest. And there's a good one. Dana has a really good one out, and she goes into the specifics.
Yeah, it's
Just
a good interview.
Yeah, it's a great interview.
Lynn, I can send it to you if you want, if you want to send it out.
If you want.
Link,
You know,
yeah.
one of the things that really came up on the May 6th protest was that it's just not about not building these apartment buildings, but it's about preserving home ownership in San Diego, and particularly for anyone that can afford it, right? And we all know people can't, but people want to live in single family homes, and wealth building by home ownership is the way most Americans do it. And if we destroy all the single family homes to put up apartment buildings, all we're doing is creating a generations of renters. And so we have to really change the narrative of what's happening. And I think May 6th did a little bit of that, even if the media didn't pick it up.
Yeah, and then another thing is that nobody is saying that apartments and affordable housing shouldn't be built. We're just saying we need
No,
to
it needs to
also
be the right
preserve
place.
neighborhoods
Yeah.
and single family. That you can't just throw in everything as high rise and apartments.
Well, a good part of the problem is that none of the housing is being built really affordable.
No, the
I mean,
110 to
in fact,
120.
one of the chances that I started but didn't go very far was that it's affordable housing, stupid, rather than, just build more stuff, because there's plenty of high-end stuff being built all over the place. You drive down any boulevard, but it's not things that are affordable.
Reasonable
And
and
so,
common sense.
It doesn't,
Mhm.
and so what we keep saying is that it's for affordable housing and to allow people to actually move into that kind of housing rather than just building stuff that only benefits developers or corporations like BlackRock, which come in and buy up 6,000 units or 3,000 units of affordable housing, upgrade it, and then raise the rent.
Well, one
Okay,
thing,
Wait,
not
can we get back on to
Yeah.
community updates here? I mean,
Sure.
this is, it's a wonderful topic, but.
Anyway,
This up
that's what
to move on.
EACPC did.
Thank you.
Lynn,
Yes,
Lynn,
yes,
I
Bob.
had my hand up for a while during all this conversation.
Yeah.
Can I know you just said you don't want to hear any more about it. I'm just gonna briefly talk about a guy who infiltrated our protest. His name is Ryan Klumpard. He's one of 6 commissioners on the San Diego Housing Commission. He was a gentleman that was south of El Cajon Boulevard, right at the entrance into the Vaughn's shopping lot there. If you go on his Twitter page, you're going to find out that he thinks I'm a racist because he took a picture that Paul Kruger took, and he said that the sign that I was carrying, basically, I had a thin blue line shirt on. Never once did I say I was with PD. And then he starts reading out the sign, which someone else wrote, but it said Shanilo Rivera does not represente. And he just went off on that. His sign said no renters, renters leave, or something to that effect. We don't want renters or something. So clearly he was there to way ahead of us. People would see his signs first and then get to us. And I tried to mention this with Sean Rivera last night and I got cut off. But one of the things that was interesting is the San Diego Housing Commission gave lots of money to Sean Rivera's campaign.
Okay, Terry, with all respect, we're just doing community updates.
Okay.
And we're past that at this point. So I appreciate it, but thank you. For Rolando Park, I just want to say that on April 22nd, we had a Xena Canyon cleanup. And we're doing joint cleanups with Redwood Village now. We had just over 32 people there and great turnout. Some kids Girl Scouts and Brownies who shouldn't be there because we have a lot of homeless encampments. But I do see Tim was there. Thank you, Bettina. Really, the adults that were there, it was mixed 50-50 of Redwood Village volunteers. So that's the way we're doing 3 more cleanups on University this year. We're doing one on Streamview in July, I believe. Yeah, Streamview. We haven't gone on there.
June 10th.
And that one is University Avenue, and Bettina's running that one. So anyway, that's all the updates I had on community updates.
Make a suggestion.
Yes.
Can you mention the tree project that we're working on?
That's another,
All right.
that's next. Thanks. We have a list.
Okay. It was kind of a community, but it was multiple.
Yeah.
communities.
Bob, the University Avenue tree canopy projects updates.
Yeah, we met with Martha Zapata. What
Mhm.
was it, about 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And she's put us in touch with a gentleman by the name of Steve Davis that lives in Kensington. And he leads a group in Kental that is interested in planting trees in their communities and throughout the city. So within the next week or so, we're going to have a meeting with Steve and see what sort of synergies there are between us and, you know, what we would like to see done with University Avenue and the bikeway. So, so stay tuned. But Martha's been a big help up to this point, and we'll see where it takes us. Yeah, Laura.
I think I saw that SDG&E is helping promote street trees again.
Yeah, they do.
And I would definitely get them involved because they've been so good in communities in the past.
Mhm.
I know yours is on University Avenue, but they've been good at, you know, with
Yeah.
the housing.
Yeah.
Street
Yes,
trees.
we're gonna have to come up with some sort of patchwork to kind of figure out how this is gonna work.
I wouldn't
you know.
count them out though. Sometimes
Yeah.
they'll provide you with the trees, they'll provide you with the diagram, so you're not gonna hit any lines when you're digging.
Right, they do the utility.
All these
locate,
really
yeah.
important things. and
Yeah.
They've been
Yeah.
really good in our.
The big, yeah, and the big part is that if you need to have cutouts, that gets to be kind of expensive, you
Right,
know.
so I would definitely wrangle them in. And if
Yeah.
the city can't give you money, maybe SDG&E can give you money.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll figure it out, but it's,
Yeah.
like I said, it's gonna be a patchwork of probably funding sources to be able to make it happen. It's just trying to get it to happen with the synergy of the bikeway right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
So,
That's the big problem right there, is because that's actually supposed to start construction early next year.
yeah, there's a pipeline project first, right?
Water main replacement on University between Aragon and College. That's going to take about
Starting this
6 months.
summer, yeah.
Question, Bob, could you also ask about the maintenance of the, you know, because it's great to get.
Oh,
trees donated.
certainly,
That's-
yeah,
And
you know.
I'm not sure about this gentleman from Kensington, is it
Yeah.
a city project that he works with, or is it the private nonprofit that he works with? But
I think
the
it's just,
maintenance,
yeah, I think it's it's a nonprofit
Yeah.
probably.
We don't want to
Yeah.
put trees in and a year later they're all dead.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Don't think the
Yeah.
city would.
Well,
want us
usually
do
you'll
that
have to get
either.
somebody who's gonna agree to water them.
right. Well, that's like if you
For
want to
like the
put them
first
in your
3
own
years.
parkway, you know, you've got to sign an agreement that
Mhm.
you're going to water them for 3 years.
Can't do that, though.
No, you can't. So we'd have to come up with some other plan. We talked about having a water buffalo somehow, you
Right.
know, so,
So, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That'd be great if you can come up with some options.
yeah.
There's also these great, I don't know what they're called, but they're these waterproof bags you put around a tree. And it keeps it waters the tree for you.
Uh-huh.
And they're wonderful, and I've seen different people in our neighborhood have them around their trees,
Right.
and they're easy to fill up,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
just, is
So
that?
what is
water
it, sort of
buffalo?
like a sleeve that goes around it and you fill it?
A cone shape,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
made out of material of some sort.
Uh-huh.
And then you fill it up, and then it helps water the tree. And
Yeah.
a lot of people on one street in our neighborhood have put it around crepe myrtle trees, and now the whole street's just lined with beautiful crepe myrtle.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take long,
no.
you know. In our neighborhoods, within 20 years, we have a tree canopy.
I
in a
know,
lot of areas,
exactly.
you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But the maintenance isn't just the watering, it's also the trimming. And
Yeah.
You know. if there's
Exactly.
something-
Uh-huh.
The city might work with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Parks and Recreation, Danielle.
So, Clay Park. So the young lady Naveed, I'm not sure if you're still listening, but the meeting on the 17th is not to talk about the renaming of the school or the park. That's you're kind of putting the cart before the horse. The meeting on the 17th is to start the community process to use the millions of dollars that are now set aside for Clay Park to come up with a upgraded GDP bigger and better than the one that was approved 5 years ago. In the future, the school is going to talk about, and I'm sure the community too, talk about the renaming. And so that will be a parallel type of a project to go along with the GDP update. So, so the actual meeting on the 17th at the UDW is the city staff coming to talk about updating the components of the park, and then in the future, we will talk about renaming, because the school should be renamed first, and then of course the park. And that's a multi-year process with San Diego.
Why are they gonna rename the school?
They left. A lot in the community think that Henry Clay, being a slave owner, should not have his name on a city school. There are a lot of city schools that have been doing it.
Huh.
So there have been momentum building for that, but that's a parallel process to the GDP upgrades that we'll be seeing soon. In the meantime, at the one of the previous Kalina meetings, because someone from the neighborhood came in January to say that the dog park's too close to their private property, that person came with 2 others to the Kalina meeting and subsequently met with some city staff. So that's why city staff has backed off of the location of the dog park. So with this meeting on May 17th, we'll talk about what our options are. But in the meantime, both the current chair of the subcommittee for Clay Park is Young, and the previous chair for the GDP upgrades, which is Denise Armijo, that some of us might remember. She was a member here. And myself met with a numerous amount of city staff to say that we still would like to continue talking about a dog park somewhere in Clay Park, because their city staff's first thing was, well, let's just put it over at Kalina. Well, that's not going to help the people of Rolando who want a dog park. So we had a good meeting with, I think it was about 6 or 8 city staff, the 3 of us ladies, and then we'll be moving forward with this May 17th meeting at the UDW. 6 o'clock. For other parts of our eastern area, Harley, who is in the back, is our new chair, or re-chaired in the Kalina, or sorry, the Choyas Lake Community Rec Group, and he wanted to meet with Andy Field also. So we're going to be doing that this Friday afternoon. We have a whole host of things to ask city about. And at the top of the list would be the storm drains that were promised to be maintained and fixed a year and a half ago, and we've only gotten 1 out of, and I think that was a day camp area. So, yeah, it's the most important one, because we need to be able to use the day camp area for those few weeks out of the summer. But since all of these rains were happening this past, and nothing had been done up to, for the last 18 months, that's one of the things on the top of our list. But we'll give you a synopsis of that meeting that's coming up this Friday, the next eastern area. And I do know over at Kalina that on the western part of the tennis courts, it was the maintenance had to be done because of the concrete and the erosion that was happening. Now that that is fixed, they will be able to restripe its 2 western tennis courts into pickleball areas. So that should be coming soon to Kalina. Unfortunately, the pool is still down. I need to get some more information on why Kalina pool is still closed. It has to do with some mechanical kind of an issue with the filtration or whatever. So, yeah. And then the news is that officially, I was at City Council a few weeks ago to be on consent agenda to be appointed and confirmed by City Council to the Park and Rec Board. And I did the online training, whatever thing I had to do. And so hopefully I will be able to actually sit up at the table of the Park and Rec Board this coming May 3rd, Thursday. The last meeting that I attended as an audience member was 5.5 hours long because it was Deanne's Cove and all the people that wanted to talk about what was going on in that east corner of Mission Bay Park. So,
That's a biggie.
so yeah, it's going to be a lot of time. But District 9, we need to know our
finally got a
voices
rep.
now. We finally got a rep after 10 years, so you can.
Be better than
One thing. And I'm going to need all your help giving me input.
Danielle,
In the interest of, is,
one
we
question.
keep it quick.
Yeah,
please,
about the GDP upgrade at Clay.
Yeah.
Is this just the city again, more money for planning and development, and they're
Well,
never
remember
gonna
the
get around to
previous-
upgrades?
The previous upgrade was only $150,000 because that was the money from the settlement.
Right.
And so it was little things. This is gonna be millions, so we're gonna be talking about possibly like picking up the playgrounds and putting them somewhere else, putting dog parks someplace else, so it's
Okay.
comfort station, all kinds of stuff, big ticket items.
Okay.
It's really- Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And you,
So,
if you're free, you should come to the meeting
Yeah, I'm out of town. I can't.
okay, can't.
next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, it's on third Wednesday, 6 o'clock, UDW up there in Willow, so I'll do some of
Okay. Thank you, Danielle. Mario, do you have anything, any update on transportation that you could?
Not too many
deliver? Okay.
Yeah,
30 seconds.
too Not too many things have changed. I did talk to somebody from the consultant and they're still finalizing plans. They're not done yet, but they're getting close. I don't know how much money. San Diego's got lots of money, but they've been spending a lot of it. So we'll see. It's probably another year at least before they get started, I believe. I would suggest maybe you can get the bicycle people to maybe give you another presentation in 2 months or 2 or 3 months, if that's would be good. But can I've been listening all night. I got a couple real quick suggestions about the meeting. Can I?
Maybe could we do it next meeting?
Well, this is just real, okay, one thing, just for Streamview, Richard, if, I don't know who else to talk to, but I'm pretty good at reading plans and I was looking at those drawings that they were showing. And I have some suggestions. I want to talk to somebody, not here, but somewhere else at a later date. So if Richard, you're working on it or who the person is that's working on it, I'd like to talk to him and I have some questions regarding that. And you guys are doing the protest was great, but the people driving down the street are definitely going to agree with you. What you need to do is the people that are coming up with these rules, Tony Atkins, Todd Gloria, and all the other people who've been pushing all of these, changing the zoning and everything. You need to protest in front of their offices so that everybody knows that they're responsible for these things. Not everybody, but the ones that are in Sacramento and the local people who've been pushing it. They're the ones who need to be reelected or not reelected, let people know what they're going to vote for.
It's getting
That's
late.
enough. I'll be quiet.
Thanks, Mario.
And with that happy thought, I move to adjourn.
Almost.
Almost.
Laura, the subcommittee for the community plan.
I'm going to wrap up a couple things that have been talked about. We've had 2 meetings with the subcommittee. The first one, we talked about a few things in general, but one thing, and I reported on it last month, but what I forgot to mention was that Lynn mentioned how Streamview really does start up by Rolando there, as far as being one of the first areas where it emerges from
Julius
underground.
Creek.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And that it's important to remember that when we think about what's going to be built and how much preservation we need around it for purposes of the area and the water system. So I have that in my notes and I noticed that the other day. I thought, oh yeah, I didn't mention that. But it is good because they're doing Choice Creek studies now on where the creek begins. And they've even mentioned it way back many years ago when they were looking at the Choice Creek and where it starts and where they were spending money. So they've already pretty much acknowledged that point. I think we should make sure we go ahead and get that impossible buffer zone around it to keep it protected as we consider where we're going to be developing on the main streets in our neighborhoods. And then John came that last couple weeks ago when we had our meeting, and we were talking about what Redwood would really like to see. Once again, definitely preserve the single family homes, And then, how the choice triangle plan. Sandag's been saying stuff about how Choice Parkway may stay in for bike and car lanes. And I know I'm with you. I don't think that that's correct, but apparently Sandag was saying that. And maybe it's just an interim phase. I don't know. But then we were also talking about how right now there's big parking lots and then the buildings in back. And of course, when we get things redeveloped, they're going to have to be the buildings closer to the boulevard and parking underground or back and kind of surrounded by buildings. So
Yeah.
those were just,
Who's on the subcommittee? When do you meet, please?
we meet on the 4th Wednesday of every month. We meet here in one of the rooms across the hallway, the study rooms. And right now the subcommittee is Lynn, me, Daryl, and Alex.
Okay.
And then whoever wants to show up can show up. We are
I
encouraging,
thought Brown Act was we were supposed to all get.
I'm going to start noticing them. now.
Yes, Laura, to do that already.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also we are encouraging everybody's community to get the word out about the meetings, because we want as many people from each community who's interested to attend. Because a lot of people who might not want to be on our board and not want to have to go through formalities of planning and all that do have very good ideas about what they want to see in the community, what they want it to look like, and we need them to help.
So are you planning to do it by subject matter, like, streets, parks, libraries, or are you planning to do it by communities, Redwood Village or Park?
Oh, no, we're going to do, well,
So
ours is
subject
kind of overall, but our little individual communities have a lot of similarities for consideration.
Okay.
We've already got, really, our community plan has a lot of development zones in it that we have not come close to touching.
I know.
And we might not need a lot of increases, except when you talk to somebody in the city and they want to increase it 300 times what is reasonable. So that's it.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
now I move to adjourn.
No.
Oh.
I have to, we do have to have a conversation because it's going to be a little bit of homework for the subcommittee for over the next month. Danielle was at the joint Mid-City Communities Plan Update committee meeting, as was I. And one of the things that we left to talk about and bring back to the June meeting is a vision statement for our community plans. So for us who are on the subcommittee, I think a good place to start is really by talking to our individual communities here and reviewing the old plan and the vision we would like to see going forward. And it's only needs to be a couple of pages. This time we'll flush it out. But that will be what we want to be talking about at the June meeting. So
I don't understand why we're doing a vision statement.
I don't see why we don't, because for me personally, it's like a mission statement. We need to define what it is, what we think we want to see happen in our area over the next 25 years. And if you look at the plan that didn't work for the last 25 years, I don't really recall seeing a strong vision there for how it should be developed, a growth blueprint, really, that did anything work on university?
Well, that's, you know what, Lynn, that's a good question, but nothing's worked in any of the communities.
I know, but
And it's not just in Mid-City. That's one of the things that the college area, the city was telling the college area, they're saying that they want to increase all the development opportunities by 300% because nothing got developed in the last.
Yeah, well, we need to start somewhere, and
developed in
it
the
was
last
suggested that we actually use the 7 visions from the college plan as a starting point. So I'll be sending that out to everybody on the board and some of the links that David Modi sent, just as a starting point for us, so we can start working on that.
Just to clarify, each of the 4 neighborhoods, there's going to be a vision for Kental, a vision for City Heights, a vision for Normal Heights.
City Heights, yes, and the plan I think is that we'll merge them together into one solid.
One solid.
One
Okay.
solid. The other
I'll
thing,
bet they all come out similar.
well, yeah, because we all have the same needs.
Right.
The only other thing I want to say about that meeting, which turned out to be a complete surprise, was that the planner who's going to be assigned to the plan showed up that night. He saw the advertisement on Mr. Elo Rivera's Facebook page and showed up.
Who is it?
His name is Alex Grant.
And he just finished the Mira Mesa one.
Just finished the Mira Mesa plan.
So he's
Yeah,
been through the trenches.
right.
Yeah, but the Mira Mesa plan's way overbuilt, just like ours.
Well, sure, but he did show up. This is initially starting as the grant, that Sandag grant, the smart growth. And that will segue into what will be the plan. So for about the next 4 years.
So when was the smart growth grant?
It looks like they granted it in October. I don't have the dates. I'll send the email out. But
Which means the clock is now ticking.
the clock is ticking.
Right.
Because we wanna
And
get something
sometime in the next 6 to 12 months, he'll have that plan about conditions, current conditions. So, yeah, the clock is ticking, folks.
You knew it.
Yep.
Even
I
though they
mean-
weren't telling us.
Yeah. So that's all I want to say about that tonight. Is there anything else from the CPC meetings that
Well,
we need to
there's-
know, or can we adjourn?
Well, on top of the housing HAP 2.0, there's this Blueprint San Diego thing that's going on. And Blueprint San Diego is one more development idea that the mayor's office is putting out there. Nobody's sure what it is. There's all kinds of metrics and algorithms that nobody's really telling us what they are for how to plan and allocate people and different zones. And they're saying that we were told that that's also going to be like the driving document, that all the other documents are going to be part of this Blueprint San Diego, and that all of our community plan updates are just going to be an addendum to the Blueprint San Diego. So we don't, it's really odd and nebulous, but it's out there once again as this huge kind of threat, quite frankly, to any kind of planning and zoning. It seems like it's all just disappearing. Like they're just saying, doesn't matter what it is, you can build it as tall as you want, no parking required. Anyway, Blueprint San Diego, they're taking heat, there's some kind of heat maps that they're using too. It's wild.
I did see, I think I got an email today that the draft of that is available. for
Oh,
review.
good. Okay.
So I will send that link out. to
Yeah,
everybody
send that
to
link out
see it.
because it's nebulous at this point. I don't know how much better it's gotten now that they have something to send you. Good.
Good.
It's all kind of wild.
It is. I believe that wraps it up. Motion to adjourn. Second, it's 8:58. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
And they'll move and. who seconded?
Lauren,
Okay, thank you.
thanks, everyone. Thank you to everyone online. Good night, Ramon. Oh, you're brave. Thank you. Good night, Mario.